Hey guys, what's up? If you've never been to this channel before, my name is Jenna. I'm a Canadian who's been living here in Germany since 2014. If you've watched my videos before, you're gonna notice right off the bat that this video is styled a little bit differently than the ones that I usually create here on YouTube. And that is because I am actually taking a sneak peek of a module from the Life in Germany Welcome program that you can find on lifeingermany.com and plugged it into my YouTube channel over here because this is a specific topic that has been asked time and time again by so many of you regarding finding a job here and why is it so tough? What's that one trick, that one tip to actually getting that job interview? So here's your sneak peek. We are going to talk about working in Germany, how to get a job, how to be prepared, and how to absolutely kill it in the position that you find. But first things first, we are going to talk about cover letter and resume writing. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's something I learned back in high school, or this is something I didn't intend on preparing for coming to Germany because isn't it the same all around the world? Unfortunately, no. Cover letters and resumes here in Germany are very, very different to some other countries. For myself, coming from Canada, this is something that really shocked me when I first arrived here in Germany. Nobody told me that I needed to entirely reconfigure my resume when getting prepared to find a job here in Germany. So this is cover letter and resume writing for the German market. First things first, you need to understand that finding a job here in Germany is not always the easiest thing to do, especially if you're coming here and you don't speak the German language. It is important, very important, to follow a few simple rules in order to make sure that you stand out from the crowd. And some of these are going to be, yes, perhaps common in many other countries, but please listen when I'm talking about this stuff because here in Germany, some things matter a lot more than in other countries. It is important to brand yourself as a specialist in whatever you do here in Germany. It is more about what you know here than who you know, and that, coming from North America, is something that is very, very different. The connections that we build in North America is usually what brings us to the bigger and better positions in our working lives. In Germany, they really want to know, what qualifications do you have? They offer free education here in Germany, so that can never be an excuse. Look specifically for jobs requiring native English speakers. This makes you very different than a native German speaker, and this goes for Spanish or Chinese or Japanese, whatever that might be. You are a native speaker with a different language than German. So the Germans applying for these positions are not going to have a step up in the competition in this particular situation. So if they are looking for native English speakers, you are going to have a leg up in the competition. Always include your cover letter and resume when applying. I know in some countries you only have to pop in a resume. The cover letter is optional, but in Germany it is very important to send in both because otherwise they will not consider you whatsoever. And lastly, please don't give up. I know this sounds like a cheesy motivational speech, but there are jobs out there. It just sometimes takes a little bit longer. If you do give up and you just think, I don't have the energy anymore to find a position here in the German market, don't worry, you can also create your own job. Freelancing here in Germany is continuing to become easier and easier and easier. So let's hit all of the info you're going to need to create that perfect cover letter for the German market. First things first, make sure you keep it short and make sure it is no longer than one page. This is your cover letter, it is not your resume. So keep it short and keep it concise. Make it formal. Here in Germany, they are not as relaxed as they might be in other countries. It is very important to keep your cover letter very formal and make sure that you address all the recruiters that are a part of the process. It is very easy to write a cover letter and write a resume and then bam, 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 send it to a number of different jobs. That doesn't work so well here in Germany. What you're going to need to do is customize it for every single specific job. Here's going to be one of the best tips I give you in terms of finding a job in the German market, and that is a lot of larger organizations actually run this system where they don't have time to read every cover letter and resume that comes their way. They just don't have time. So what they do is they put all of these cover letters and resumes into an automated system that then files out the people who are not qualified for the job or who don't fit the description to a T. So what that means is that there are specific words that they are looking for. And if that is not included in your resume, then you might not even get the chance to be interviewed. And I'm talking something as specific as you want to be the marketing coordinator for an English firm here in Germany. Well, they are looking for a marketing coordinator, but they call it a marketing specialist. Because you put that you were a coordinator at your last position, even though it might be the same thing in theory, they are looking for a specialist and not a coordinator. So make sure that you read that job application and you take those words, those very particular words, and punch them into your resume. If they're looking for somebody who is flexible, somebody who has minimum 5 years experience, somebody who knows the American market, for example, plug those into your resume and cover letter word for word the way they have put it in the job posting. You need to change your mindset and focus on what they will get out of hiring you versus somebody else. So here in Germany, you don't say, I would be so honored to get this position. I'm really excited. You actually say, I would be the best person because ... You always have to kind of be cocky. I mean, I don't want to say it that way, but it's true. You have to be so confident that you are the best person for the role that it actually convinces the people hiring to hire you. Don't be afraid to brag. List your qualifications, list your experience, list your knowledge, all the projects you've worked on, your achievements, and your personality. This might seem a little bit strange to some of you, but use numbers and statistics. Here in Germany, they do love numbers, and it might sound like a rumor, but it is true. They love statistics and they love numbers. So if you say, I want to be a social media coordinator and I've managed accounts with over 2 million followers, that is something that they're going to look at. If you've managed the budget of a firm and you manage millions of euros versus having a budget of 100 euros a month, that is going to make a difference. Make sure that you include all of these statistics and brag about it. Show your motivation, show that you're excited, but avoid overexcitement. As I mentioned, if you want to say, I think I would be the best person for the job because I'm so excited and I'm honored to be considered for an interview, this is a little bit too much. I would say, I would make the best candidate and I am very much looking forward to your response. Something like that, that is showing them that you are excited and you would really love the job, but not that you're just like, out of this world pumped, because it might scare them and it might take them a little bit back. And lastly, it is always important to include your call to action. You can include your phone number, you can include your email, but whatever you're including, say, I look forward to hearing from you. You can contact me at this phone number or at this email, however you would like to be contacted. Make sure that you push them at the end to follow that call to action. Once you've created your cover letter, it's time to go on to your resume writing. Number 1, include a professional photograph of yourself. This might shock you because in some countries, including a photo in your resume is actually frowned upon. And to avoid racism or sexism or ageism, this is not very popular in some countries, like in North America, for example. We would not include a photo of ourselves unless we were applying for a modeling job or something that actually required them to know exactly what we looked like. In Germany, that is not the case. They just figure, I guess, might as well skip to step number 2, and if you don't look like you fit the job description, then we're not going to interview you. Sounds a little unfair. But if you do want to be considered for a job here in Germany, you're going to have to follow and you're going to have to play by their rules. So you can include a professional photograph of yourself. This is a very common practice here in Germany. So there are actually tons of photo studios. You can find them in the malls here. You can find them on the main streets. And almost all of them are going to do these professional photographs. Step number 2 would be include your personal details. Again, you might be taken back here a little bit. And when I say personal details, I'm talking about your date of birth, yes, how old you are, your place of birth, yes, where you come from, your nationality, your marital status, your email address, perhaps even if you have children, your home address, any blogs that you manage, basically your whole life. And this sounds so personal and almost terrifying to me. It really threw a curveball at me when I first figured this all out. I could not believe that they wanted all this information from me, but that's just what they want. Number 3 would be to follow a simple and standard format, which includes the following sections, and that's your personal details, your professional experience, your education and training, your computer skills, and your language skills. All of this needs to be included in a German resume. And lastly, number 4, make sure you include all the facts and figures that are necessary. If your resume, not your cover letter, but your resume happens to be more than one page, that is okay. It is not entirely frowned upon here in Germany if you have just so much information and so much experience that you need to share with them. It's okay to go onto a second page. So if you are prepared and you are ready to go, we are going to head on into the next module, which is talking about different types of employment here in Germany, because yes, there are quite a number of different types of employment opportunities here in Germany. Of course, the next module you will find in the welcome program, but if you have any questions regarding your cover letter or your resume, don't hesitate to ask me a question in the comment section below. All of this information was gathered and built upon by experts in the job market. I worked closely with a career coach who gives these tips for a living. So these are some really, really good tips to help you out this year finding a job successfully here in Germany, and I really hope it helped. That is all for me today. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank und wie immer, bis später.